Welcome back to the channel, everybody. What I'd like to talk about today is narcissist and narcissistic behaviours. A couple of colleagues of mine and friends have said to me, is my partner a narcissist? Is my mother a narcissist? I don't really know. I'm getting these red flags. I'm trying to look for the traits. And so I just want to talk about that. I'm from a 13-year narcissistic abusive relationship. I'm almost 2 years narc free now. And I didn't know where it was years and years ago, and I studied it and studied it. I'm the type of guy who, if I don't understand something, I want to get to the bottom of it. I'll research it, I'll study it, I'll read books, I'll go on the internet to try to understand, what's happened to you, where's this behaviour come from, this type of thing. Because narcissists, they're not born narcissists. It's a learned behaviour. And I think it's better, for people who might be in this situation, if they can learn something from this. That'd be great. My name's Adrian from Adrian Talks Life. I think it's a term that's overly used in this day and age. A lot of people say, oh yeah, they're a narcissist, he's a narcissist, she's a narcissist, my mother, my partner, my father, my brother, the sister, whatever. They say, oh, they're a narcissist, blah, blah, blah. And they come to this conclusion without any real knowledge or research into the subject. So this is just my story, really, and if it helps somebody understand the personality disorder that narcissists have, well, that's great, because that's what I needed when I was in the thick of this. I'm out the other side now, but when I was in the thick of it, I really didn't understand it and could not get a grasp on what was happening to my life, my relationship, etc. So I first discovered narcissists for the first time approximately 10 years ago. It's my ex-wife's mother, my mother-in-law at the time, and she was a difficult person. And in the end, my wife at the time cut off contact with her mother because of her behaviour. Now, this person we discovered at the time was a overt narcissist. Now, these narcissists are easier to spot, and it's what people generally see as a narcissist. Is somebody, grandiose behaviour, constant need for admiration, a lack of empathy for others, attention seeking constantly, always have to be the centre of any conversation, anything that's going on. They need to be the centre of that, circle or social circle, whatever. And the overt narcissist, loud, aggressive, they're in your face, and they're quite easy to spot, and once you discover that they are a narcissist, people understand it more, because they say, oh yeah, I know what she's like, I know what he's like, he's in your face and he's aggressive, and he always wants to turn the conversation around to them. It's all about them. So that's your overt narcissist. Now, the covert narcissist, in my situation, my ex-wife, the overt's daughter. Now, if you have a narcissistic parent, mother or father, it doesn't automatically mean that you will be a narcissist. Now, you are much more likely to be a narcissist, but not guaranteed that you will. So in my situation now, this is what I've experienced, and this is a covert narcissist. Now, these are a lot harder to spot, covert narcissists, very difficult. They fly under the radar. You could be in a relationship, as I was, 13 years, with covert narcissists, not even realising that they're a narcissist, not even, because the only narcissist I had experienced probably 10 or more years earlier was this overt narcissist. So I didn't recognise the behaviour that my ex-wife was doing in the marriage, etc., as narcissism, because it was totally different. There's a few traits the same, but a lot different than the overt narcissist. Now, if you think you're in a relationship with a covert narcissist, it's the worst thing. These are, I think, 10 times worse than an overt narcissist, because they fly under the radar. It's very secretive, it's very cunning, and they're very sly, and it's hard to grasp that they are an actual narcissist. What happens is, from a very young age, the covert narcissist and the overt narcissist, they fail to develop empathy. They fail to develop real emotions. They have no sense of worth, no sense of identity. They have an extremely fragile self-esteem. The other thing to watch out for is addictions. Over 90% of narcissists will have an addiction. This could be sex, it could be gambling, it could be alcohol, it could be drugs. Now, in my case, it was alcohol, high-function alcoholic. But over 90% will have an addiction, so watch out for that. The other thing that they do, is they love bomb you at the beginning of a relationship, so you're wonderful, they put you on this pedestal, they want the relationship to move extremely fast, they're booking holidays fast, they're introducing you to family members, they want to move in straight away. This is typical trait of a narcissist. They need to get you hooked to get the admiration and the validation early on in a relationship. The covert narcissist, extremely sensitive to criticism. You can't advise them or help them in any way because immediately the shutters come down and they're very sensitive to criticism. The other one is they're always a victim. It's always everybody else's fault and they're the victim. It's woe is me in life, in relationships, in their job, in their friendships. Everything is woe is me. That's another one. As I say, total lack of empathy for other people. They just don't have it, you know. They just don't feel it. Difficulty fitting in social circles. It's like they're always on the outside looking in. Passive aggressive behavior. The other thing is that they lack is intimacy. They lack real intimacy, you know, the genuine connection. They can't connect intimately on a deeper level. On the surface stuff with intimacy, yeah, they go through the motions, but real intimacy you will not get from a narcissist. So the main thing to watch out for, the red flags, if you think you may be in a relationship with a narcissist, is the main ones. These are the real red flags that, you know, will put you in the direction of a narcissist. The lack of empathy, big one. They can never admit to doing anything wrong, ever. Even little stuff that you think wouldn't matter, you know. I'm not talking about big stuff now, but even little things. My ex, she would lose her keys, lose her mobile phone, and it wasn't her fault. She would blame me. She would blame the kids, little kids, toddlers. She would blame them for losing stuff and say it's their fault, they've hidden them, etc. She could never admit the tiniest thing of doing anything wrong. And the big one, another big one, is sensitivity to criticism. Really, really sensitive. You cannot criticize them, even in a constructive way. They will not take it on board. So these are the main two narcissistic classes, the overt and the covert. There is obviously other narcissists, malignant narcissists. I'm talking about the overt and covert today because that's my experience and that's what I can advise on, because that's what I've researched and looked into. And I'm at the other side now, as I say, so you get a different perspective on it looking back. And what really hits you looking back, once you're out of it and you're over it, is the intensity of the evilness. You know, when you think, oh, it wasn't that bad. Some people say, it couldn't be that bad. You know, you stayed so long. Yeah, you stayed so long because you're trauma bonded. And you can't believe that somebody so evil can exist because it's not you. It's a way that you would never behave. It's a way that you've never seen anybody else behave before. And especially if you've got kids, you know, you sort of stay for the kids, which you shouldn't do. You try and keep the peace. And the other thing is, you think you can fix the narcissist. You think you can help them. If you're an empath like me, you want to help people. You want to try and help them, suggest to go for counselling. This will never happen. You cannot fix a narcissist. It took me a long time to realise this. You cannot help them. You cannot fix them. Because in their mind, they're not doing anything wrong. In their mind, they're perfectly right. Treating somebody like that is just normal, and you're a commodity. They'll move on to the next one. So watch out for the red flags, guys. Do your research. My next video will be about relationships and moving on, and the new supply that the narcissist will jump into a new relationship extremely quickly. And I want to get onto that topic to help anybody. If you've got anything from this video today, if it's helped you in any way, click the like button, subscribe if you'd like to, and get my further videos. Until next time, guys, thank you.